Oh, so Eva, what were you saying again about queer theory?
Well, Mary, you and I were having this conversation about like how like the radical feminist thought doesn't really encapsulate everything that we are, right? And then also like I feel like connecting to the fact that we're involved in an anti-oppression movement.
Anti-oppression.
Right. And so like I am interested in being all inclusive, and all inclusive me like I don't know. At this point I think I'm changing my identity. Like I'm really thinking about queer theory and how that maybe encapsulates more of like how I think.
Oh yeah, because queer doesn't necessarily mean a person is gay, but it's kind of like it really means like other, like standing back and on the outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and also because and plus I've had a lot of run-ins, like just debates with radical feminists who seem to really exclude some folks.
Right.
And I feel like that these radical feminists are making the same mistake that the progressive feminists made in the 60s and 70s, where they left African American women and Hispanic women behind.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think in this case we're leaving transgendered folks behind, and I refuse to do that. I mean, as a person who's been excluded and disenfranchised myself, I wouldn't want to do that to anybody.
Right.
You know, and I think that like you know, that's a queer theory to me makes better sense as an anarchist and as a human on this planet. I don't know.
That's amazing. And so remember the paper I sent you about queer theology in terms of, could you say something about how that affected you or impacted your viewing of how people conceive of the divine?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I'm Jewish, so like, I mean, I think Christian theology, whatevs, but like, I do work in the South with a lot of Christian folks, and some of them are members of the LGBTQI community, and I see what they go through and the pain they go through, like trying to connect to their other church members and just walking through this world as a gay person, and you know, and being a Christian. So I think that like this whole idea of queer theology, which is really just Christian queer theology, let's just be real, but like, you know, that it's a way of connecting to the divine without self-oppressing.
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, I'm not an atheist. I am spiritual. I do feel connected to the divine, and I think that can be liberating.
Yeah.
And I just would love for my Christian comrades to feel as liberated as I do as just a person who connects.
Yeah. After I read Sarah's paper on queer theology, I started to think about like, oh, hey, yeah, the heterosexual male god or the lesbian god or lesbian goddess. And like, why don't we have these different ways of conceiving of a divinity? And we don't, it's almost like the propaganda of influence is for heteronormative, heterodominant culture.
Right.
And we don't even question that as like potentially child abuse or destructive for LGBT youth.
Right.
To have those norms imposed.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I remember as a kid, like like on Friday nights we sing the song L'Chadodi, and it's welcoming Shekhinah, the feminine divinity, the Shabbos queen, and like we bow to the four corner, like we're bowing to and like at the end of the Sabbath or the Havdalah, we pray to the moon, literally, like, you know, like feminine, and so, you know, like anything that's like peaceful or healing or like creative energy, like, you know, like I connected that to feminine, the feminine aspect of divinity, and I just, you know, so it was never a question for me. And then like exploring like paganism or Hinduism or whatever, like, you know, it is everywhere, you know, and and honestly too, Joseph Campbell, who is a Christian, talks about this too. Christianity and Paul and the epistles really just want to oppress women in our power, because we are the life cycle, right? And so like the Christian thought of like the sinner, like I was born out of your vagina, and so now I have to live on this planet as a sinner, so I hate you, which is like the origin of Christian misogyny and the need to oppress women and put us in our place, right? So like exploding that wide open and connecting to like this universal idea of love and acceptance, to me is just absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eva.